It's Friday, August 30th, 2013. Let's talk about what happened this week over at xdadevelopers.com. First up, those words I love to say, kernel source code has been released. Yes, the Motorola X has not been out terribly long now. It was just announced really not that long ago, and it's just released for a couple of different carriers like AT&T and T-Mobile. And already, Motorola has gone ahead and put out the kernel source for the T-Mobile, AT&T, and Sprint variants of this device. Unfortunately, the Verizon device is not available, but that was kind of to be expected. And the Sprint one has still not actually launched yet, but Verizon will be launching very, very soon. So a very interesting kind of flip-flop back and forth there, but one way or another, kernel source is being made available for some of these devices, so it's still very, very nice to see, and hopefully we will see lots and lots of great development coming out soon on the Motorola X. Unfortunately, I have not gotten my hands on one yet to try anything out yet, but I have been messing around with the Droid Max, which is sort of a sister device. It's got that lovely Verizon branding all over the back of it, but it's got very, very similar specs, and if it's anything like this, I know that I would be very, very pleased with it, so yeah, you might want to take a look at it if it's something you have not looked at already. Moving right along, a couple of other stories came out this week about the Samsung Galaxy S4. First up, XDA forum member Sush143555 put together a thread talking about the method you can use to SIM unlock your AT&T Galaxy S4. Now, it's doable, but it's risky. It involves you going into the service menu and doing some things to it. I'm not going to go into specifics here. You can read the article for all of the details. Do keep in mind, though, you can use XDA Elite Recognized Developer and TV Producer Adam Outler's Casual to sort of roll things back, to go back to stock if something does go wrong, hopefully. As I do say all the time, do make sure to read through the forum post to get all of the details before trying anything yourself on this, because we really don't want you to break your device. And sort of overlapping the next two stories came out this week talking about dual booting your device. The first one, obviously from the previous story, was the Galaxy S4. XDA senior member Grarak has put together a mod that allows you to dual boot the Galaxy S4 between stock TouchWiz and any other AOSP ROM. Now, apparently to get this all set up, you have to be running the Perseus kernel on your device, but it's something you can change later, so if nothing else, be on stock, get it all rooted and unlocked and ready to go, flash over to the Perseus kernel, get your dual boot set up and ready to go, and then flash back over to whatever kernel you want to be on. Now that said, it's probably not going to be something that's just a simple point and click. It's going to be a little bit more involved, but if this is something that you're interested in, you're probably the kind of person that's going to be able to go through the steps that are outlined on the forum, so just be very careful. Like I've always said, read through it. Make sure you know what you're getting into. Now, the second device that got dual boot this week was the Sony Xperia ZL. This was done using ROM Switcher by XDA recognized contributor Mithun46 and a bunch of other people that have been cited in the forum posts. And this allows you to, again, switch between the stock ROM, the Timescape Sony ROM, and any other AOSP-based ROM. Now, is this really going to be useful or usable for a lot of people? It's sort of hard to say, but if you want to be working on one ROM, doing something to it, and then have your stock that you can sort of fall back on if something goes wrong, yeah, it could definitely be useful. And moving right along to some actual Android development news. We've talked a lot in the last few videos about Android Studio. I keep saying it, I say it again. Android Studio was announced at Google I/O this year. It's effectively IntelliJ, the IDE, with Android stuff put on top of it and Android stuff made easier. Well, there are a lot of people that are still using Eclipse for all of their Android app development, and they just haven't made the leap over yet. And if you are one of those people that would like to make the leap, XDA forum member Joshi Geek has put together a forum thread detailing the steps for migration, sort of getting you ready for what you'll need to do to become an Android Studio IntelliJ user. Now, the cool thing about this to me is not only does he cover, making the switch from one to another and making it simpler for you, he covers doing the installation on Windows, Mac, and Linux. So you get this entire picture of how it can be on every platform that you're going to possibly use it on, hopefully. And it goes into creating your first signed APK. So overall, it sounds like a pretty good, well-rounded tutorial. And not to be outdone, Joshi Geek created another thread that got featured on a portal this week, specifically talking about how to use Google Play services inside of Android Studio. So now you can go from using Eclipse, doing all of your Android development there, into using IntelliJ, using Android Studio, and doing all of that with Google Play services on top of it so that you can integrate with the newest way that Google is doing things within Android. Very cool, very useful stuff. Hopefully you will get some use out of it. And we move on to the last story. I seem to remember something similar to this story when the Nexus 7 originally originally came out, pretty much the Nexus 7 comes out and it's kind of like a big phone. It's not exactly a tablet in terms of the interface. And so when the 2013 Nexus 7 came out, the same kind of thing happened. It was sort of a phablet UI interface, and I hate that word. But XDA4 member Calder, building upon the work of some other people, has put together this systemui.apk that you can replace on your Nexus 7 2013 edition, which will give you that full tablet mod functionality that you might be interested in. However, apparently at this point there are still some kind of bugs to be worked out with it. The stock launcher does not work with this new system UI, and the quick toggles in the notifications don't work either. So there's probably still, like I said, some things to be ironed out, some kinks to be worked out, some bugs to be fixed. Hopefully that will come in time. But one way or another, if this is something you've been missing on your 2013 Nexus 7, go read that forum thread for all the details. Somebody has to get me a shirt that says that. And finally, to wrap things up, 3 other videos were posted to XDA Developer TV this week. In the first one, Kevin talked about controlling your lights at home using your Android phone, specifically using things like Tasker and If This Then That, as well as some specialized hardware, which is obviously going to be needed, otherwise you're just plugging into the wall and you can't automate that. And then later in the week, he took that one step further into controlling it using NFC tags. So you can, again, use If This Then That and Tasker, and then use NFC tags on top of that so that when you hit a certain NFC tag, certain things happen to your home lights. I am definitely a big fan of home automation. I wish I were doing more of it here in my home, but I am sadly still in the dark ages. And finally, I made another video this week wherein I interviewed some of the senior sponsors from XDA DevCon, just giving you an idea as to why they chose to be sponsors of DevCon, why they chose to be there. So if you haven't seen any of those videos yet, definitely make sure to check those out. Links to everything I talked about will be available down in the video description, as well as links to my channels if you're interested in following me on other parts of the interwebs. But that's going to be all from me for today. As always, make sure to hit that like button down below if you like this video, subscribe to receive our content as soon as it becomes available, and I will see you again next time.